everyone. Welcome back to the Jasmine Ortiz Show. I'm so excited to be here today with a wonderful guest, Barbie Rivas. She is a label manager at Mr. 305 Records. She has a long, illustrious career in journalism, broadcasting, and other parts of the entertainment industry. So first, I just want to welcome you to the show, Barbie. Thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to have an awesome conversation with you.
Thank you for being here. Would you mind giving a quick intro for our audience? Who are you? What's your story?
Well, my name is Barbara. A lot of people know me as Barbie, and I'm from Venezuela. I lived most of my life here in Miami, and I started my career doing broadcasting for a lot of years, over a decade in the broadcasting industry, doing interviews, podcasting, TV, and radio. And in the last 5 years, I switched careers more into the business side of the music industry. And now I'm blessed to be able to work with Mr. 305, which is Pitbull. I'm label manager at his label. And it's exciting to wear a lot of different hats and be able to manage different artists. And it's like we have a roster of like 15 artists, and it's literally the representation of Miami, because you have all the genres, all the countries, all different styles. And for me, it's really exciting to be able to work so many different, types of music and artists.
That's fantastic. I mean, Mr. 305 himself is like the epitome of Miami. I heard him speak once, and it was incredible just hearing his story and background. So let's talk about Mr. 305 Records. How did you first get involved, and what have been some of your highlights of working there?
I first got involved because I was going through a transition in my career. I had done broadcasting for over a decade, and I just kind of felt that I needed to go towards the next step in my career and my life overall. I was so passionate about everything I did in the broadcasting world, and I will always appreciate it so much and have a really special place for it in my heart. But as you grow older, you need a little bit more stability. You're looking for different goals. And, I just started looking for new opportunities. And I was blessed to be able to go into Mr. 305 Records as a label manager. At that time, we only had about 5 artists signed. And the very first artist that I worked with, that I was his project manager, is Omar Courts, which he's an up-and-coming, very known artist in Puerto Rico. And it's been a blessing to be able to be part of that project from the beginning until now, that we've reached millions of streams. We are touring around the world, huge collaborations with some of the top names in the industry, from Bad Bunny, Wisin y Yandel, Anuel, De La Rose, Davey. I've been able to experience kind of the baby artists from now all grown and continuing to grow with the team. So for me, that's the number one highlight I've had in my career in Mr. 305 Records. For me, it was a switch, right? From working in my brand, in my career, Barbie on air, as everybody used to know me in radio and TV, to be able to develop other artists and develop other creatives. And I've learned so much, and it's kind of what I needed. I felt like I came and I was feeling like I was stuck in my career, and I just needed something more where I could grow and learn and feel that excitement that you feel when you're growing inside your life and your career. So for me to be able to make that change and learn so much and continuing to learn every day, and be able to not only be part of such huge brand, which is Mr. 305, also be able to work with a man that's so motivational. I'm a very spiritual, I'm a very mindful person. I believe in wellness and the importance of, you maintaining a balance between your mental, physical, and spiritual health. And to be able to represent a brand and a boss and a person that lives, breathes, and is successful because he also believes in that, it's really exciting too. So that, along with being able to have a successful project, which was my first project out of radio, it's really exciting for me, and two of the most highlights in my career so far.
Wow, that is a fantastic response, first of all. I loved all the different points that you touched upon. So I want to get more into the mindfulness and spirituality in a little bit. But first, you mentioned how this was such a transformational pivot for you. And I think that's so important to highlight for our audience, because a lot of the people listening are independent rising artists, our aspiring entrepreneurs, our students, are just young people trying to navigate the world and figure everything out, right? So myself, as someone who graduated college a few years ago, at first I was so lost at what do I do now? You know, you have all these multitude of choices, and I love that in your trajectory you've decided, okay, I can make all these different choices and still find the core of what I want to do. So you had a career in broadcasting, and that has led you to be such an eloquent speaker and be so good at your job at Mr. 305 Records, because you already have the media experience that a lot of people really spend years trying to attain. So I love that. Just that every step along the way has led you to be built up to where you are now.
100%. For me, I always kind of like when I was in high school, I didn't know kind of what I wanted to do, but I always love music. I love entertainment. I love like drama, TV, and all that stuff. So I knew that was kind of where I wanted to go, right? And I did it for such a long time. I never in my life thought that I would pivot my career so early. When you look at the history of music business, you see a lot of older people, men in the industry. You never think you're going to get there at 27-year-old girl coming out of radio, like into a label, right? It was one of my goals, but I was like, oh, when I'm older, when I'm like 40, 50, I'll go. When I don't want to do radio no more, maybe I'll go into the music business. But it came earlier than I expected. And even though it was not somewhere in my plans that early, it was time, and I felt comfortable enough to pivot that passion or that thing that I thought was what I was going to do for the rest of my life into something else, because we all evolution. I feel like throughout our lives, the way that you grow up, the years that pass by, the experiences that you live, and it's okay for you to pivot, and it's okay for you to sometimes not know what your next step is. Just kind of like really in those times, go within yourself and ask yourself, what is that one thing that you enjoy doing, that you want to continue growing in, and how you can find opportunities within that. And that's like my number one advice. Wherever that is, however that happens, just make sure that you're enjoying the ride of like whatever career you choose, because at the end of the day, we all got to work a 9 to 5. We all got to work a lot of hours most of our lives. And if you go to a job that you don't like, you're really not living at that point,
Yeah, that's so important. And I never expected actually to get into broadcasting myself. So I almost had the opposite trajectory. So I have been making music my whole life. I started piano when I was 3, went to performing arts high school, went to Frost School of Music. So everything was always music, 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 right? And I love it. It's my baby. It's still my passion. I also developed a passion for public speaking while in college. I did a lot of activities that involved it. So I found that when I got the opportunity to have this show with iHeart, I jumped at it. I was scared. I had no idea what I was doing. I had only ever been on the receiving end of interviews, but I think all of those experiences allowed me to develop this new passion and this new career trajectory. So I love that. It's interesting because entertainment industry in general, no path is ever linear. This is what I say to everyone. And even in our careers, which might not have been as long as someone who's been in the industry longer than we've been alive, we've already experienced these pivots. So my main advice to anyone listening is, if we've already experienced a pivot, don't get discouraged if you're going down a different path than you initially thought, because you might end up on a better path for you or the initial path that you wanted to be on in the first place.
100%. A lot of the tools that I learned, a lot of the connections that I did, a lot of the relationships, I've been able to use them now in my career, and the music industry is such a big, big industry, even though I've done it always because I love music, but I never could be an artist. I never wanted to be an artist. It was like the lifestyle, everything is such a like pressure career. So then I was like, that was also like, what else can I do with music that I don't have to sing or be an artist, but I could use my voice and I can listen to music and, share that with the world. And that's how I ended up in radio. And then now in the music industry, all the artists that I used to interview, all of the managers that I used to talk to, all of the PRs, publicists, and medias that I used to talk to, now I can use them for the artists that I'm actually developing within the label. So, and my knowledge in music, which was one of the reasons why they even brought me into Mr. 305 Records, is because with my ear, I knew what was top 40, what was top 10, what was in the radio stations. And like that, we can develop projects that can also fit into that sound. And that was really what really got me the opportunity to step into Mr. 305. So no matter where you are today, you're always learning tools that you can take into the next step of your life, you know?
Absolutely. And you touched upon something really important. I wanted to ask for those listening and curious, can you explain what a label manager is and what that entails? You just mentioned something that sounds similar to being an A&R. So you have to listen for the new talent. You have to understand what's hot, understand what's up and coming. What else does that role entail?
Well, it depends, right? Because if you're talking about a big brand label like Universal, Sony, Warner, you know, being a label manager means maybe just managing the artist, right? Or the project itself, making sure everybody does like what they need to do. But for me and Mr. 305 Records, we're an indie label, we wear a lot more hats. And for me, I've always been a person that like to wear a lot of hats, so it's a blessing. I like to put my hands in a lot of different things, a lot of different projects. Like, so in a day, you know, can be doing creative meetings with the artists, planning our next releases, to a meeting with legal team, talking about the agreements that we have to close out for those records that we want to release, to having a call with advertisement for whatever we're going to run, then marketing teams to see like what actions we're going to do to activate the fans on the digital side or like on tour sides. And then, or like today, I can go to the studio and be in a session because we're finishing some songs that we want to, you know, come out with, or a music video or an award show, you know, like it's just more so like managing the project completely from all ends, from start to end, and making sure that every single person has a role and it's executing their role. And not only that, I'm blessed to be able to work with my boss one-on-one, help him with whatever he needs, and build also a team within 305. Like, you know, my coworkers, or like develop different departments within the label that I'm also trying to grow the label now. We're a small indie label, but we do a whole lot. We have a roster of 15 artists, producers, from EDM music to reggaeton to rock to hip hop to rap, DJ producers as well. Being able to develop all those projects while developing the label itself and making different departments and team members. I think for me, it's exciting. So I do wear a lot of different hats. My days are different all the time. But for me, I'm the type of person that I need that to be able to continue feeling that I told you I wasn't having at that point in my career, where I'm doing something different, when I'm learning something new, or I'm building something new every single day. So that's what I do. In other labels, it could be different. In other labels, it'll be more limited because obviously they have a department for every single thing. Each person has a role. But like you said, I also do A&Ring. So if I know an artist that wants to work with another artist, I call the manager, I set up the sessions, let's make some music. And I love it for me to be able to do all of those cool things and just learn, because, you know, knowledge is power. The more you know, the more I'm useful in this industry, and the more opportunities that I may be able to have in the future.
I absolutely relate to that. As an independent artist, I have had to wear a lot of hats for a really long time. In releasing my music, you know, you become the distributor, you become the marketer, you become the producer, the songwriter, the artist, the social media team. And even in this point of the startup that I'm working on, I've learned a lot about metadata and copyright. I think there's something so beautiful about indie labels because they still encompass that DIY love and heart and soul of the project. Do you know what inspired Pitbull to create this label? Was it a method of him giving back to the industry that he loves so much?
I can say so 100%, you know, and also being able to give the opportunities to those underdeveloped artists. We're very proud to say that we are a developing label. We do not care if you have numbers. We do not care if you don't have a backup. We'll make the backup plan. We'll make the numbers. Just be passionate about your music. Know what you represent. Know the sound that you want to make. At least if you don't have those studio producers, writers, it's okay. Know who you are as an artist and bring that to us. And that's enough. We'll give you all the tools that you need. And I feel that he made it a hub for underdeveloped artists to come and feel safe, to be able to take the next step, whether that means just us developing you enough to get you over to the next bigger opportunity that you may have, or develop you enough where we all become superstars and we all become a big team like we've done with Omar Chords or other projects that we've also just developing them enough, and then we've been able to give them deals with bigger labels or other opportunities that are able to develop them to the next step. So I think
I'm so impressed
that's
by that.
100% the reason why he did that. Yeah, that's what we do here a lot, and I love it too, because it's exciting to be able to be part of a baby, and then you see it grow, and then you see everybody else see what you kind of like believed in before anybody else, you know?
Absolutely. I think that is like, you guys are almost like the final frontier of that in this industry. And I didn't know a lot about Mr. 305 Records before this, but it makes sense to me, having followed Pitbull's career, having seen him speak live to students and just explain his past, his background, why he is so involved in philanthropy and giving to his community that once helped build his career, is amazing to me when a label still invests time and interest in artists who are not 100% there yet with the numbers. Because I've spoken to executives from various different labels in networking opportunities, and they've been so blunt in saying, if you don't have 100,000 streams per month on Spotify, we're probably not going to open the email. We're probably not going to respond. If you don't have virality on social media, we're probably not going to invest. And a lot of labels are looking for a turnkey artist where they don't need to invest any money in development, don't need to invest much money into sound. They're going to put people together from their own roster internally and then push on the marketing end. But the artist has done all the legwork already for them. And it's definitely like an old school model to be able to sit there and say, I believe in this person's talent. I want to develop them. So I love that. That's super inspiring. And I think it's what's missing in the industry. Heart, really caring enough about the music and about the passion behind it to overlook that, okay, maybe a turnkey artist could be better for a quick return on investment. But in the long run, does having this person's career in the palm of your hands, does that give you more of a rewarding experience?
100%. Yeah, in the music world right now, there's so much music coming out that a lot of good talents get lost in the sauce, I would say, and the labels, unfortunately, sometimes do spend a lot of money that they're not able to see back with a lot of projects. But I feel that it's more than just numbers, right? The label always has to get their money back, and artists have to be mindful of that. It is a business at the end of the day. What I can recommend artists is to just always be business savvy. Don't come in, especially if you don't have numbers. If you don't have anything to show, kind of prepare yourself. Make a plan. Show them a deck. Do an album and bring them a project that's already done. Share the vision with them. Sell the vision to them and tell them how your 3,000 monthly listeners or 1,000 monthly listeners can be turned into 100,000 in the next 2-3 records. Why? Because I know I can get this audience. I know my sound is this. I know my brand is this. This is what I want to do. And because at the end of the day, a lot of artists nowadays don't understand that there is a business behind this, that there is a lot of money that gets invested, and the labels do have to see their money back. So it's kind of like, a fight between love and hate, because, you got to make money, but we love what we do and we love the artists as well. But for us, we always find a way, and we're blessed to be able to have a boss like Pitt who isn't looking so much at the numbers and is willing to invest with his eyes closed to some projects, even if he loses, because he's seeing that at some point we lose. But if one wins, then that takes everybody else up with them,
Yeah, that literally gives me chills. I'm not trying to be dramatic. Genuinely, like, I find so much admiration in that, because that co-signing, that belief in someone is what this industry used to stand on. And 1,000% I agree, it is a business, right? You have to be aware that if you get an advance, you're expected to recoup it for the label.
It's like a bank. Literally,
exactly.
You got a loan.
Like, you wouldn't take a loan out if you didn't think you could pay it back with interest, right? Yeah. So it's just like that. And I loved what you said about the deck or selling the vision, because that's exactly what you have to do with a startup or a new company when you're looking for investors. And I think that the major labels haven't been as receptive to that sort of pitching, right? Because a lot of the times they have their A&Rs already scouting, and what they're looking for is the numbers and the sound and the entire package. But for any artist just starting out, you are the brand, you are the package, and you have to know, just like in advertising, how they know their product, they know the audience they're selling to, they know the demographic. You have to know all of those things about your own brand.
100%.
So I wanted to pivot a little bit now that we're talking about pivoting. You said that you're very spiritual and you believe in balance. I read a little bit about the Blissful Project. So can you tell me a little bit more about that and what inspired you to start it?
Yeah, so the Blissful Project is my personal, baby that I'm doing myself. It's a community of wellness within the music industry in Miami and within the world. Hopefully very soon, a lot of people will be part of this community as we grow. The Blissful Project, I started it because I started to feel at some point in my life with my personal and my career and everything that just wasn't happy, right? And then I was feeling depressed. I was feeling lost. There's just so much in the world that we go through every single day in our lives. And I needed to find a way out. I needed to, there has to be more, right? And I started just practicing different things. And that actually came about because I met someone who's a mentor, and he's a motivational speaker, and he's a really good businessman. And this person was actually teaching someone that I was really close to. And I was always around this person. And every time they would teach this person, if I was around, I would learn as well. And that started helping me kind of understand that we're not just made out of skin and bones, that we're energy, that we have souls, that what you put out is what you get back. And whether that is good or bad, you're always going to attract what you're feeling, what you're saying, what you're practicing every single day.
Heavy on that.
Yeah. And then this person completely changed everything that I knew in my whole life. I was about 22, 23 years old. And, I came from an immigrant mother. I came to this country when I was 8 years old, leaving all my family behind. My mom worked several jobs. I had to learn English. I had to go through the whole thing, right? And for someone like that, I would say 75% of someone like that is not meant to make it further than that. Being a worker, 9 to 5, being an immigrant, not having more than what they're able to make in a day, or just having enough to eat and live, and that's it, and then go to work and come back home, and that's it. And I just, this person taught me, no matter where you come from, no matter how little you may have, you have the power within you to unlock that better you, that better version of yourself, by just manifesting, by just really, really putting that energy within you and the world and everything around you, that you are that person, that you are that better version of yourself, no matter what it is. And we started working for the person that he was mentoring. So I started seeing it, and I saw it firsthand from a person who didn't have anything to becoming a very successful businessman through this mentor, then this person teaching me, listening to motivational audios, reading motivational audios, writing down, journaling affirmations, learning the power of I am, and understanding that, everything you put every single day after your I am is really important, because that's describing who you are and what you feel and what you're putting out in the world. And from there on, I made it priority in my life to wake up every single day and work on my wellness. And it's not only about spirituality or motivation, it's all about spiritual, physical, and mental health, because I did go through all of that. I went through where I wanted to be the motivational speaker, the happy person, but then I wasn't taking care of my body. I would go home and not work out or eat really bad and then feel sluggish, feel bad, be unhealthy, right? Or have unhealthy habits and go out and party all the time and all this stuff. And then I was okay, I'm not feeling 100%. So you start taking care of my body. I start doing yoga. I start doing Pilates. I get into working out. Then from there on, I start meditating, and I start joining groups of people in Miami that do sound therapy, that do sound healing, Reiki sessions, Reiki circles, and the wellness community within the city has, open arms for anybody who wants to join them. And I was able to meet wonderful people throughout my journey that have taught me that, it's not only one thing, it's all things, because you see very successful comedians per se that make everybody laugh and make everybody so happy, and they're depressed inside and they take their lives. You see people who look amazing and they go to the gym and they have muscles, they have the perfect body and they're perfect, beautiful woman, and they still very unconfident inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see people who have a lot of money and they're depressed with all of the money that they have.
They don't have
They're
a
still not
purpose.
happy. Yeah, they're still not happy. So that's where it comes about, the balance between your spiritual, your mental, and your physical health. And that's what the Blissful Project is all about, curating a community and curating events with this community where we practice how we can learn and grow and have that balance together. These events consist of like yoga classes with sound therapy and goodie bags and networking, or Pilates or boxing classes with some sound therapy as well, and journaling, manifestation exercises, women's circles. And it's wonderful because for me, I just do it because I just needed that community. When I learned all these things that I needed to do for myself, and I saw that it started working for me, I knew that I needed to have more of that around me in order for the energy and the force and myself and everything around me to continue growing further. So I was like, I need to build more communities like this. I need more people around me like this. I wasn't taught or learned about this before. My friends don't know about this. My family doesn't know about this. So I have to build a community and people around me that are aware of what this is. And I wanted to share that. And I started sharing that while I was building a community, learning, and I'm still learning. I don't know a lot, but I'm just someone who's like going through the journey and want to share it with other people so we can grow and help each other out and understand, in the world that we live in today, how important that is, and hopefully make a change in somebody's life and help them be better for themselves. And I've been blessed to have a lot of friends support me. I've been blessed to have a lot of industry friends join the community. And they're like, when they come to me and like, they tell me how grateful they are that I've never done yoga and I've never done sound therapy, or I've never like journal anything. I don't know how to like write. I don't know how to manifest. And they do it. And I'm like, don't worry about it. Just come have fun. We're going to have a great time. They come to the event and then like after like, or they're crying or they're like so grateful and they're like, oh my God, like I felt this and I felt that. And I can't believe I did it. And that just like makes my heart so full to know that I'm able to share that with other people.
Wow. I think it's so impressive that you have these multifaceted, paths that you've pursued. On the show, we've actually talked about mental health and physical health and wellness and how it connects to artistry in the past. And it's something that I'm super passionate about as well. I've talked about spirituality and mindfulness, both with your physicality in your voice as a singer, your physicality in your body as a performer, your mental health and fortitude with long, grueling hours. Like you were saying, being an artist, the schedule is super chaotic a lot of the time. I think the mindfulness and wellness element of this industry is severely missing because there's such an emphasis on the party culture, on the drinking, on the going out.
Go.
And Miami is a place where you can so easily fall into the latter and really get involved with the party culture and sort of lose sight as to why you're here. What are you here to accomplish? I know personally after college, I felt a severe lack of community because most of my friends left Miami and went somewhere else. So I had to basically start over. And I was going out, like you said, not having the healthiest habits or sleep schedule. And as I've over the past few years changed that, gotten up early, gone on a walk every morning, go to the gym, eat a little bit better, and try to live life in moderation and balance, right? You can't cut everything out, but you have to be balanced. What are some ways that you've experienced that balance, and what tips do you have for other people trying to find more balance in their lives?
100%. To go into the first part of your comments about the industry, yes, artists are sources of energy. And, I have been firsthand experiences of an artist not feeling good enough with their wellness and their mental health, where it affects the music that they're making, it affects their efficiency. You see artists who have dark energy and share this dark energy and message through their music. And we need to understand that as an artist, You guys are throwing out energies and messages that can move masses in the world, no matter what language they speak. And if the message that you're putting out there is not a message of love, it's not a message of good energy, and you're just talking about drugs, money, sex, and all these dark things, you're building a whole community of people and fans that are feeding themselves with this message, and it's not good for the world. And I tell this to my artists all the time: be careful with the messages that you guys are sending out, but before that, be careful with yourself, because this career takes a lot of you and expects a lot of you. You are living that lifestyle where it's go, 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 go. You're here today, you're there tomorrow, you're at a club, you're this, and it's difficult for an artist to stay grounded. But I always tell them, stay true to yourself and stay grounded to why you're doing this. You're doing this because you love music, because it makes you feel happy, and because you want to make something good for the world, not something that's going to be harmful for everybody who's listening to you. And then for me, 100%, I listen to a lot of audios. I love Tony Robbins. I love Napoleon Hill. I love Pitbull. Like, I listen to him. Like, I wake up, and whether, we have a busy lifestyle, everybody's at 1,000 miles per hour. We're all really on the go, 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 trying to catch up to our next goal, to the next person, to the next thing we have to get done. And even if you take 5 to 10 minutes in the morning when you wake up, I try to either pray or put a motivational audio on, or put a meditation audio. YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple, any of the platforms you put it. You can put motivational sounds, you can put meditation sounds, sound therapy sounds, and you just sit there with yourself and listen to something that's going to help you feel good when you wake up. I practice that myself. Working out is a big part of my health, because when I'm having a stressful day, I find it that going for a strong workout afterwards is like all of that is gone. Like, I don't care. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to be stressed anymore. My body feels good. So for me, that doing something that you like, whether it's playing basketball or walking, going for a walk, or doing yoga, Pilates, just do something that's going to activate your heart rate, that's going to make you sweat, that's going to make your body release all of that energy.
Yeah.
Those are the two major things for me. Journaling is something that I like to do too, at least once a day. Write 5 to 10 things that I'm grateful for. And don't overthink it. You look at your plants, and I'm like, I'm grateful for my beautiful plants. I'm grateful for my home, or I'm grateful for my job, or I'm grateful for, my best friends and my career. Or you can also be grateful for things that you want to manifest too. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for my wonderful home. I'm grateful for my successful business, my successful career. I'm grateful for, the investments that people are making, the community that's growing. All of these things you can manifest, and you can be grateful for. Gratefulness is like the first thing that I recommend everybody to always look into, because no matter how bad lives can get, there's one thing that you can be grateful for having every single day. And when you find that one thing, you see that it's not that bad after all.
I think mindset is such a huge part of mindfulness and of positive mental health practices. Like I said, I felt very isolated after graduating college, and I think my mindset was not where it needed to be. And something you mentioned, exercise. They say exercise is one of the greatest antidepressants, anti-anxiety, coping mechanisms. And not to say that obviously medication doesn't help as well, but for a lot of people, they're not getting enough endorphins daily. Just getting that exercise, even if it's something light, just something you enjoy, getting outside, seeing the sun. Like, we're not meant to be inside under fluorescent lights all the time. So I think I was looking for community in the wrong places. I was, trying to go out. I was trying to find friends that way. But there's such a great wellness community in Miami. And I think the Blissful Project is adding to that. And there's so much emphasis on all of these different parts of wellness that I think Miami as a city is often overlooked. I know LA definitely seems like the wellness, Pilates, vegan, organic kind of community, but Miami has so many free events going on all the time. And for anyone listening, it's so important to do a little bit of research, put a little bit of your time into it, and find communities that matter to you. Because I started to realize I want to find a community of girls that likes to go to the beach. I want to find a community of girls that likes to do yoga in the park. I want to find a community of girls that likes to go thrifting or do farmers markets. And there's so much always happening in this city. There is no reason to not find the group of people that helps your mental health and wellness and that really aligns with your values.
The Blissful Project is one of them.
I would
Sweat
love to
Pulse
get
is a
involved. I'm
platform.
so
Of
excited.
course.
I'm so into it.
You're already part of the community. I'll send you the events that we're going to have up and coming so you can join. And everybody who's listening to this podcast, feel free to follow us, Blissful Project, and I'm Blissful Barbie. And we're always doing events to be able to grow the community. And there's always like Eventbrite, Sweat Pulse, Instagram groups. There's so many ways. And if you don't have that community, just go to an event and be friendly and meet other people that are in that community, and don't be shy to approach, because anybody who's in the wellness industry is open to be able to grow the community. And I think in the last few years, it's grown a lot in Miami. It's interesting to see the growth of wellness within the city. But I can say that many years ago, it was a city that was really into partying and drugs and just the nightlife style. But in the last few years, especially after the pandemic, I think a lot of people realized the importance of the mental wellness and physical wellness. And a lot of people moved down here too from a lot of different states, which helped also grow that wellness community. So we're a huge hub right now of wellness and music and culture, and it's exciting to see where the city's going.
It is. And I think there's often two sides to growth, right? A lot of people see the traffic or they see people coming in from other places and they get upset. But I think the mixing of ideas and the insertion of new techniques and practices and other businesses that might have thrived in another city coming to Miami and installing that community here, I think that's a great asset for our city. In general, you've done a lot of mentorship in the past. So I wanted to talk about your experience as a mentor with Grammy U. I actually was a mentee when I was in college, so it warmed my heart to see that you were a mentor. What was that experience like for you?
It's amazing. It's, for me, the most exciting thing in my whole career and my whole life, like I said, is being able to help other people. I don't know why. I mean, when I used to do broadcasting, I used to do it because I wanted to learn about the artists' lives, and I wanted the artists to tell their stories for other people to be able to get motivated to become that artist or be that successful person in the music industry. And then also because I wanted to have a community that I can speak to and give a message to in the radio. And then now in the label, I love developing projects. So I love to see them reach their goals. And then the community with the Blissful, I'm just like sharing this whole wellness life that I'm trying to journey that I'm going through with people. And Grammy Jew was a blessing for me to be able to just teach others everything that I've been able to learn. I'm not an expert at absolutely nothing in my life, but I'm somebody who is growing every single day and is willing to teach others the good part and the bad parts too, so they don't make the same mistakes that I've had to make in order to learn the hard way in my career or in my personal life or in this industry and this life that we're going through today. And it's exciting. This is my second year being a mentor at the Grammy U, and I hope to have. Thank you. I hope to have another year. And it gave me a wonderful coworker. It gave me someone who, I was mentoring, and this wonderful girl who is now part of the Blissful community. And she's helped me so much. She was like, I would say, one of the first few people that said, I'm going to help you with Blissful. I'm going to join. You don't have to do anything. Just let me be part of it. And I was like so excited for that. And now she works with me at Mr. 305 Records after she had the mentorship with me, because I saw how much potential she has. It's a blessing. It wasn't only for me to teach others, but I'm also gaining. I gained so much, and I learned also as well as a mentor, So it's just something that I feel blessed to be able to do every day.
I love hearing you speak. I just want to say that. You speak with so much passion and gratitude, and that is so rare and amazing. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Me too. I have goosebumps. Do it.
Mentorship is a huge reason why I started this show as well. Everything that you said, the reason why you spoke to artists and to inspire and encourage them to succeed, that's exactly why I have this program. Because as a young artist, when I started releasing music 7 years ago, I was completely in the dark. There were a lot of people who tried taking advantage business-wise, and I made mistakes because I didn't know who to trust. So if there's any opportunity that I can provide or my guests can provide to kind of highlight, what to look out for. What are the red flags? What are the green flags in people that you want to collaborate with, whether it's business wise, musically, socially, even? How do you navigate this? Because it's so personal. And a lot of people kind of fear that in, what is it? Oh my gosh. Like wow, I can't speak. The way that you have to, the vulnerability. A lot of people fear the vulnerability of being an artist. And if that is what's holding them back and they still have talent and passion and love for it, they just need someone to help guide them through. Because it is
100%.
so hard to find people who align with what your passion is, what direction you want to go in, and really believe in the project.
It's easy. It's easy to get lost in the industry when you're an artist, because there's so many opinions. Everybody has something to say about your music, and they don't realize that you're actually impacting the person that they are, because artists don't do music. Well, most of the ones who are actually artists and musicians, they don't do music because they just want to be famous or they just want to be millionaires. There is a lot of artists here that do it because they love it and it's their passion and this is what they live for. And they're not making money of it. They're not very successful on it right now in the eyes of the world. But, you start getting all these people's opinions and everybody wants an in what you're doing. And then if you do grow, then that's when things really get hard, because you have double the people on top of you. You have the fans on you. You have this expectations of a label, of the fans, of yourself, of your team, of everything. It's not just making music. It's like, how do you brand yourself? How do you present yourself in socials nowadays? Because socials is a huge thing in the music now. How do you talk to other people? How savvy are you in the studio and with the business? And it's just like a whole thing now. And it could take a toll in the artists if they're not mindful of every single step that they're taking, right? And the people that they have around. So learning is amazing, and being able to give that knowledge to other people is even better.
Absolutely. And having the right community around you. Like you said, you're building community with the Blissful Project. Artists need a supportive, loving community who will be there for them when they succeed or fail. Because a lot of times you see artists, even Lady Gaga experienced this in her high school years or college years. Mm-hmm. People made Facebook groups making fun of her, and now she's one of the largest recording artists of the past 20 years. Mm-hmm. Who's laughing now, basically?
Exactly.
But there's so much noise that you have to learn to block out, and you have to have really thick skin, and having a loving, supportive community just helps with that.
100%.
So thank you so much for your time. This has been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience, and how can we follow along with the rest of your journey?
I always like to share the same because I kind of live by it, and I'd like to hopefully someday it impacts somebody else as well. Our only limitations are those we set up in our own minds. Mm-hmm. The world is limitless. Your opportunities are limitless. Don't look at your present. Look at your future and look at the opportunities that you can get ahead. And wherever you're at today, just know that you can do it and that you are that person that you see yourself being able to be no matter what's going on around you. And just to join us, follow us on Instagram, join our community. I'm always looking for new people to connect with, whether it's in the music industry or outside or in the blissful journey. I'm just here for whatever anybody who comes around me, needs, and for us to grow together. And I'm so blessed, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to meet you today and have this wonderful conversation. I hope to have you soon. I'll share all of the details for the Blissful Project upcoming events so you can join us. And I send you all of the blessings. I hope you continue doing this show and be very successful with all your goals.
Thank you so much, Barbie. You were an absolute pleasure to interview. And just so everyone knows, it's at blissful.barbie on Instagram and blissful.project.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much once again. My name is Jasmine Ortiz. You can follow along with me at Iamjasmineortiz on all social media platforms. Thank you so much for tuning in this week.